The Stoic Mind. Welcome. Take a moment and consider this. How much of your suffering comes not from life itself, but from resisting what you cannot control? We live in a world of noise, constant pressure, endless comparison, uncertainty at every turn. Our minds are pulled in 1,000 directions by fear of the future, regret about the past, and the opinions of people who do not shape our destiny. Yet 2,000 years ago, a philosophy emerged that taught something radical. Peace does not come from controlling the world, but from mastering yourself. This is the way of Stoicism. Practiced by emperors, warriors, and philosophers, Stoicism is not about suppressing emotion or becoming cold and detached. It is about becoming steady in chaos, calm under pressure, strong without aggression, and free in a world that constantly tries to disturb you. Marcus Aurelius wrote while leading an empire through war and plague. Epictetus taught that freedom begins when you govern your own mind. Seneca reminded us that we suffer more in imagination than in reality. Their wisdom still matters because human struggle has not changed. We still face fear. We still face anger. We still face loss, distraction, hardship, and doubt. And we still need inner strength. This audiobook is a journey into that strength. Through these chapters, you will learn how to control what you can, let go of what you cannot, transform obstacles into advantage, discipline your thoughts, and cultivate a mind that remains unshaken in turbulent times. This is not theory, it is practice. A way of thinking, a way of living, a way of becoming resilient. Because the Stoics understood a timeless truth. You may not control events, but you can control your response. And in that response lies your power. So as you listen, do not treat these words as mere philosophy. Treat them as practice. Reflect on them, carry them, apply them. Because the goal is not simply to understand Stoicism, it is to become Stoic. To build a mind that remains calm in chaos, clear in confusion, and steady in every storm. This is the Stoic mind, and your training begins now. The Stoic Mind. Part 1. Control what you can. There is a truth, so simple that most overlook it, and yet it can change a life. Much suffering begins when we try to control what was never ours to control. Other people, their opinions, their choices, outcomes, the future, chance, fate. We grip what moves and suffer when it does. But the Stoics saw clearly. Peace begins when you distinguish what is within your control from what is not. This is the foundation, the first principle, the doorway into freedom. Your thoughts within your control, your judgments within your control, your actions within your control, your character within your control. But the weather, not yours. The past, not yours. Other minds, not yours. The results of every effort, not fully yours. And wisdom begins when this line becomes clear. There is exhaustion in trying to command life. There is peace in governing the self. This is Stoicism, not controlling the world, controlling your response to it, and that changes everything. An insult may come. You choose whether to carry it. Loss may come. You choose whether pain becomes bitterness. Difficulty may come. You choose whether it weakens you or trains you. This is power. Quiet power. Inner power. There is an old teaching from Epictetus. Some things are up to us. Some things are not. Entire lives improve when that is understood. Imagine how much energy is wasted each day fearing outcomes, resenting events, arguing with reality. Now, imagine reclaiming that energy, returning it inward, toward thought, toward virtue, toward discipline, toward peace. That is the Stoic path. Most people ask, how can I control life? The Stoic asks, how can I govern myself within life? Very different question, very different life. When something disturbs you, ask, is this within my control? If yes, act. If no, release. Simple, but powerful. Practice this and burdens begin to lighten, because much anxiety comes from carrying what was never yours. Put it down. There is strength in acceptance, not passive resignation, clear-eyed acceptance, seeing reality as it is, then responding wisely. That is not weakness, that is mastery. The sea may be rough, but a skilled sailor does not command the ocean, he commands the vessel. Be like that. Govern your vessel. Steady the mind, direct the will, and let storms be storms. You need not become them. Remember, freedom is not having perfect conditions. It is remaining inwardly ordered within imperfect ones. That is Stoic peace, and it begins here. Control what you can, release what you cannot, return to what is yours: thought, choice, character, response. Master those, and much of life loses its power to disturb you, because the one who governs himself cannot easily be ruled by circumstance. And that is the beginning of the Stoic mind.
Chapter 2. Master your thoughts. The mind can be a powerful servant or a relentless tyrant. For many people, suffering does not begin in events, it begins in thought. A careless word becomes an imagined betrayal. A setback becomes a personal failure. A fear becomes a future catastrophe. And the mind, unchecked, turns shadows into monsters. The Stoics understood, it is not events that disturb us, but our judgments about them. A moment happens, then the mind tells a story, and often it is the story that wounds us. Someone criticizes you. Is it truly harm, or only your interpretation of harm? Something goes wrong. Is it disaster, or simply difficulty? The quality of your life greatly depends on the quality of your thoughts. And so, Stoicism begins with awareness. Observe the mind. Watch the thoughts arise, but do not obey every thought you have. Not every thought is true. Not every emotion deserves command. Anger may appear, fear may appear, doubt may appear. Let them come, but do not hand them the throne. You are not every thought passing through your mind. You are the one who can examine them, question them, discipline them, choose differently. A Stoic does not react blindly. A Stoic pauses, and in that pause, there is power. Between stimulus and response, there is a space, and in that space, your freedom lives.
When insulted, pause. When afraid, pause. When anger rises, pause. Because reaction is impulse, response is mastery. The untrained mind believes everything it thinks. The disciplined mind investigates. Is this true? Is this useful? Is this within my control? These questions restore reason, and reason restores peace. Consider how much suffering is born from imagined futures, things that never happen, disasters that exist only in thought. Seneca warned, we suffer more often in imagination than in reality. How much of your stress is happening now, and how much is happening in the mind? Mastery begins there, not by forcing thoughts away, but by refusing to be ruled by them. Train the mind toward clarity. Replace complaint with perspective. Replace panic with reason. Replace reaction with choice. Thought by thought, character is formed, and character shapes destiny. Remember, you become what you repeatedly think. Guard the mind. Discipline the inner dialogue, because a peaceful life begins with a governed mind. Master your thoughts, and you begin to master yourself.
Chapter 3. The Discipline of Silence. In a noisy world, silence is power. Most people speak too quickly, react too quickly, reveal too much. They fill every moment with words, often without wisdom. But the Stoics understood, a disciplined mind is often a quiet mind. Silence is not emptiness. It is control. It is observation. It is strength held in reserve. The impulsive person speaks to discharge emotion. The wise person speaks only when words improve upon silence. There is power in restraint, power in listening, power in not needing to prove yourself. How many conflicts begin because someone spoke in anger? How many regrets were born from words that should have remained unspoken? A harsh sentence can wound for years. A reckless opinion can create enemies. An emotional reaction can destroy peace in a moment. And often, all of it could have been avoided by silence. Pause before speaking. Ask, is it true? Is it necessary? Is it kind? If not, let it remain unsaid. Silence is not weakness. It is disciplined presence. When criticized, you do not have to answer immediately. When provoked, you do not have to react. When insulted, you do not have to descend into battle. Not every challenge deserves response. Not every opinion deserves engagement. Sometimes, dignity is quiet. Epictetus advised, be mostly silent, or speak only what is necessary. There is deep wisdom in that. Because those who speak less often perceive more. When you stop rushing to respond, you begin to observe. You notice motives, patterns, truth. Silence sharpens awareness, and awareness strengthens judgment. But silence is not only outward. There is also inner silence, the calming of mental noise, the stillness beneath restless thought. This too is a Stoic practice. To sit with yourself without distraction, without endless stimulation, and learn peace. Because a mind addicted to noise cannot hear wisdom, but a quiet mind can. Silence protects energy. Not every debate deserves your attention. Not every insult deserves your emotion. Not every misunderstanding deserves correction. Guard your peace. Spend words carefully. Spend attention carefully. Spend energy carefully. The strongest person in the room is often not the loudest, but the most composed. Remember, speech can reveal discipline, but silence often reveals mastery. Learn when to speak, learn when not to. And in that restraint, you cultivate power. Because the mind that does not rush to react cannot easily be disturbed. And that is the discipline of silence.
Chapter 4. Hardship builds strength. No life is free from hardship. Pain will come. Loss will come. Failure will come. And when difficulty arrives, most people ask, "Why is this happening to me?" The Stoic asks something different. What is this teaching me? That question changes everything. Because Stoicism does not see obstacles as interruptions to life, but as part of the training. Hardship is not always punishment. Often, it is preparation. Fire tempers steel. Pressure forms diamonds. Resistance builds strength. And the same is true for the human spirit. Comfort rarely produces greatness. Difficulty often does. The strongest people are not those who avoided suffering, but those transformed by it. The Stoics believed adversity reveals character. When life is easy, anyone can appear calm. Anyone can appear patient. Anyone can appear wise. But under pressure, character is exposed. Hardship shows you to yourself and gives you the chance to become stronger. Consider this. The obstacle you curse today may become the reason you grow tomorrow. Setbacks teach resilience. Failure teaches humility. Loss teaches gratitude. Pain teaches endurance. Even struggle can become instruction. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." This is a Stoic secret. Do not merely endure obstacles, use them. When life resists you, train. When circumstances challenge you, strengthen. When pain arrives, learn. Ask, how can this refine me? How can this make me wiser? How can this build virtue? That is the Stoic response. Not victimhood, transformation. Because suffering without meaning crushes people, but suffering used for growth can forge them. Even storms serve a purpose. They deepen roots, and so do hardships. Do not wish for an easier life. Build a stronger mind. The person who needs perfect conditions remains fragile, but the one shaped by adversity becomes unshakable. Remember, difficulty is often disguised discipline. Life is training you, sometimes gently, sometimes harshly, but always with opportunity. Meet hardship with courage. Meet obstacles with discipline. Meet suffering with dignity. And one day, what once felt like burden will be the source of your strength. Because the obstacle was never only blocking the path, it was becoming the path. And that is how hardship builds strength. Chapter 5. Rule the inner kingdom. The hardest person to govern is often yourself. To rule nations may impress the world, but to rule your impulses, that is mastery. Most people are not controlled by others. They are controlled by anger, by distraction, by craving, by comfort, by habits they never chose consciously. They call this freedom, but Stoicism calls it slavery, because if impulse commands you, you do not govern yourself. And the Stoics believed no victory is greater than victory over the self. Self-discipline is not punishment, it is power. The power to act by principle instead of appetite, to choose reason over impulse, purpose over temptation, long-term strength over short-term pleasure. That is inner sovereignty. Imagine a kingdom without a ruler, chaos, conflict, disorder. Many minds are like this, desires pulling one direction, fears another, emotions another. But the Stoic becomes sovereign, one ruling principle, reason. Not every urge deserves obedience. Not every desire deserves fulfillment. Wanting something does not make it good. Feeling anger does not make anger wise. Feeling comfort does not make comfort worth choosing. Discipline asks, what should I do, not what do I feel like doing? That question builds character, and character builds freedom. Wake when discipline says wake. Work when discipline says work. Restrain when discipline says restrain, even when comfort whispers otherwise, especially then, because every small act of self-command strengthens the mind. Every temptation resisted, training. Every impulse mastered, training. Every difficult right choice, training. And slowly, you become stronger than your appetites, stronger than laziness, stronger than fear. This is how inner kingdoms are ruled, not in one grand act, but through daily discipline. Epictetus said, "No person is free who is not master of themselves." Freedom is not doing whatever you desire. Freedom is not being ruled by desire. There is a difference. A person enslaved by pleasure is fragile. A disciplined person is powerful. Guard what enters your mind. Guard what shapes your habits. Guard what weakens your will, because what you repeatedly obey rules you. Ask yourself, what governs me? Impulse, comfort, approval, or principle? Choose principle. Rule yourself before life rules you, because the person who governs the inner kingdom cannot easily be conquered by the outer world. Master the self, and you become your own stronghold, and that is true power.
Chapter 6. Detach from outcomes. Much suffering begins when we confuse effort with results. We labor and demand success. We love and demand permanence. We plan and demand certainty. And when life does not obey, we suffer. The Stoics taught a different path. Focus on your actions. Release your attachment to outcomes. This does not mean apathy. It means freedom. Because your effort is yours, the result is not always yours. You may act wisely and still face failure. You may work diligently and still meet rejection. You may do everything right, and life may still unfold differently. This is reality. Resisting it creates misery. Accepting it creates peace. Your task is not to control the harvest. Your task is to plant well, to act with excellence, to live with virtue, and let outcomes arrive as they will. This is difficult because the ego wants guarantees. It wants reward, recognition, validation. But attachment turns striving into torment. You begin fearing failure, needing approval, depending on success to feel worthy.
and then your peace belongs to outcomes. That is not freedom. The Stoic works, but does not cling, acts, but does not grasp, cares without becoming captive. Imagine an archer. She trains, steadies the hand, aims with precision, releases the arrow. Everything before release is hers. The wind after release is not. So it is with life. Do your part, release the rest. Detachment is not indifference. It is trusting effort over obsession. You can pursue greatness without being possessed by results. And strangely, this often improves action because fear loosens, clarity returns. You act from principle, not desperation. Ask yourself, am I attached to doing what is right or to being rewarded for it? That question reveals much. Much anxiety comes from trying to secure outcomes that no one can guarantee. But peace comes when you root identity in conduct, not consequences. Success may come, failure may come, praise may come, criticism may come. Remain steady, because none of these define you. Character does. Seneca taught, we suffer because we insist life must unfold as we prefer. Release that insistence, and much suffering fades. Do your work well, love fully, act courageously, then let go. Because peace does not come from getting every outcome you want. It comes from not needing outcomes to govern your soul. Detach from results, commit to virtue, and you become free. And that is a quiet kind of power.
Chapter 7. Amor Fati. Love your fate. Most people tolerate life only when life goes their way. When events please them, they call it good. When hardship arrives, they call it unfair. But Stoicism offers something far deeper than acceptance. It asks, can you love what happens? Not merely endure it, love it. This is amor fati, love of fate. To embrace reality, not as an enemy, but as a teacher. Not wishing events were different, but using them as they are. This is difficult wisdom, because acceptance says, I will bear this. Amor fati says, I will use this, even welcome this, because everything can serve growth. The setback, the loss, the delay, the disappointment, even pain, especially pain. What if the obstacle before you is not ruining your path, but shaping it? What if the thing you resist most contains the lesson you most need? This is the Stoic reversal. Do not ask, why did this happen? Ask, how can I turn this into strength? Because fate does not ask permission. Life unfolds, events arrive, some desired, some not, and much suffering comes from arguing with reality. But reality never loses the argument. Better to cooperate with life than fight what already is. Marcus Aurelius wrote, a blazing fire makes flame and brightness out of everything thrown into it. Become that fire. Let difficulties become fuel. Let setbacks become training. Let fate become ally. To love fate does not mean loving pain itself. It means loving what can be made from it. A scar can become wisdom. A loss can deepen gratitude. A wound can become strength. Nothing need be wasted. This is a profound freedom, when even adversity serves you.
Imagine living so fully aligned with reality that nothing can happen without becoming material for growth. That is Stoic resilience, and it changes how you meet life. You stop asking for easier circumstances. You begin asking for deeper character. You stop resenting what comes. You begin transforming it. This does not weaken you. It makes you unconquerable. Because what can defeat the person who turns everything into advantage? Ask yourself, can I not only endure this, but use this? Can I meet fate with cooperation rather than complaint? This is amor fati, not passive resignation, creative acceptance, powerful acceptance, even grateful acceptance. Love your fate because it is shaping you, and perhaps the life you would have chosen could never have taught you what this path can. Welcome what comes, work with what is, turn all things into fuel, and that is the art of loving fate.
Chapter 8. Memento Mori. One day, you will do something for the last time. The last sunrise you will see. The last conversation you will have. The last breath. Most people avoid this thought. They fear death, so they avoid remembering it. The Stoics did the opposite. They kept death close in mind, not to become morbid, but to become awake. Memento mori. Remember, you will die. A simple phrase, a profound liberation. Because when you remember life is finite, trivial things lose power. Petty arguments fade. Vanity weakens. Distraction becomes visible. And what matters grows clear. Death is not only an ending, it is a teacher. It teaches urgency, perspective, presence. It reminds you, time is not guaranteed, and because it is limited, it is precious. Most people live as if life is endless, postponing courage, postponing love, postponing meaning, waiting for some future moment to begin living. But the Stoics warned, the future is uncertain. Only this moment is yours. Marcus Aurelius asked, you could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think. Imagine living that way, speaking more honestly, loving more fully, wasting less time, living more deliberately. Awareness of death does not diminish life, it intensifies it, because what is temporary becomes sacred. Every ordinary day, a gift. Every breath, borrowed. Every moment, unrepeatable. Memento mori is not about fearing death. It is about refusing to sleep through life. Ask yourself, if today were limited, what would matter? What would become unimportant? What would you stop postponing? Those answers reveal how to live. The Stoic does not obsess over death. The Stoic uses death to illuminate life. And strangely, when you accept mortality, fear begins to loosen, because much anxiety comes from pretending permanence exists. But nothing here lasts, and that is what makes it meaningful. Flowers bloom, then fade. Because they fade, they are beautiful. So it is with life. Remember death, not to grow dark, but to grow clear. Let mortality sharpen gratitude, sharpen courage, sharpen purpose. Do not live as though you have endless tomorrows. Live so fully today that if tomorrow never comes, this day was worthy. Because in remembering death,
you learn how to live. And that is memento mori. Strength is often misunderstood. Many think strength is aggression, dominance, force, the loudest voice, the hardest blow. But the Stoics saw strength differently. Real strength is calm under pressure, power without rage, courage without chaos. The strongest person is often the one least disturbed. This is the calm warrior, not weak, not passive, but composed. Because anyone can be fierce in anger. Few can remain steady in conflict. Anyone can react. Few can remain governed. And that is strength. A warrior without self-control is dangerous even to himself. But one ruled by reason, that is true power. The calm warrior does not panic in storms, does not lose judgment in pressure, does not let emotion seize command, because discipline stands guard. When insult comes, composure. When crisis comes, clarity. When fear comes, courage. Not because the calm warrior feels nothing, but because feeling does not rule action. That is mastery. Imagine deep water. On the surface, waves, noise, violence. But below, stillness. Be like that. Let the surface move. Keep depth undisturbed. This is Stoic strength, to hold peace while chaos circles you. The world may be frantic, others may be reactive. Let them. Do not borrow their disorder. Carry your own center, because inner stillness is a kind of armor. The calm warrior knows not every battle should be fought. Some victories are found in restraint, some triumphs in walking away. Pride seeks combat, wisdom chooses necessity. Courage is not proving toughness, it is doing what is right despite fear. Remaining principled when pressure invites compromise, standing firm without becoming hard. This is rare and powerful. Ask yourself, when challenged, do I react or remain rooted? When pressure rises, do I lose center or deepen it? These questions reveal your training, because adversity does not create panic. It reveals whether panic governs you. Train before storms come. Practice stillness daily. Discipline thought. Steady breath. Govern emotion. Then, when conflict appears, you remain whole. Marcus Aurelius ruled an empire while reminding himself to be like the rock against which waves break, while it stands firm. Become that rock, not rigid, steady, not cold, composed, not aggressive, grounded. The calm warrior carries strength quietly, needs little display, proves little, because real power does not announce itself, it endures. Remain calm, remain disciplined, remain dangerous only to your lower impulses, and peaceful toward the world, because the one who can remain tranquil amid turmoil has already won the deepest battle, and that is the calm warrior.
Chapter 10. Freedom from Opinion. Few prisons are more invisible than the need for approval. Many people do not live by reason, they live by reaction. They adjust themselves to fit the crowd. They fear criticism, chase praise, and let the opinions of others govern their peace. But Stoicism asks, why surrender your mind to judgments you do not control? The crowd is unstable. Praise changes. Opinions shift. What is admired today may be condemned tomorrow.
Will you anchor identity to something so fragile? The Stoic says no. Freedom begins when approval is no longer necessary. This does not mean ignoring wisdom. It means not becoming ruled by applause or blame. Because if praise lifts you too high, criticism can crush you too deeply. Both become chains, and chains, even golden ones, are still chains. Ask yourself, how much of what I do is guided by conviction and how much by wanting to be liked? That question can be unsettling, but honest. Many ambitions are borrowed, many fears inherited, many decisions shaped by imagined judgment, and much suffering comes from this. You hesitate to speak truth, hide your nature, diminish yourself, all to avoid disapproval. But what is the cost? A life unlived. Epictetus warned, if you wish to improve, be content to be thought foolish. Powerful words, because growth often looks strange to those asleep. Discipline looks extreme. Integrity looks inconvenient. Independence looks threatening. Let it. The Stoic does not seek universal approval. It cannot be found. Instead, seek alignment with reason, with virtue, with conscience. Let that be enough. Someone may misunderstand you. Let them. Someone may criticize you. Let them. Someone may not approve. Let them. Their opinion is theirs. Your character is yours. Protect the second more than you chase the first. This is freedom. To act rightly without needing applause. To remain steady when judged unfairly. To be inwardly anchored. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself, I do not have to turn this into something that harms me. Neither do you. Another's opinion need not wound you unless you hand it power. And why would you? The world will always talk, approve, condemn, forget. Let it. Do not build identity on passing voices. Build it on principle. Because a person dependent on approval belongs to the crowd, but a person governed by reason belongs to themselves, and that is freedom. Live so truthfully that praise adds nothing and criticism removes nothing. Then opinion loses its chains, and the mind becomes free. And that is freedom from opinion.
Chapter 11. Daily Stoic Rituals. Wisdom is not built in rare moments of inspiration. It is built in practice, daily, quietly, repeatedly. A Stoic mind is not formed by reading philosophy alone, but by living it, day after day, habit by habit. Because character is what repeated actions become. And so the Stoics trained, not occasionally, daily, like athletes of the soul. Morning began with preparation. Before the world pulled at the mind, they prepared it. Ask at dawn, what may I face today? Difficulty? Criticism? Delay? Temptation? Very well. Meet them prepared. Marcus Aurelius began mornings reminding himself he may meet arrogance, ingratitude, selfishness, and yet remain governed. This is mental armor. Preparation reduces surprise, and surprise often feeds suffering. Begin each day with intention. How will I practice patience today? Where will I show courage? What virtue will guide me? Enter the day consciously, not reactively. Then, throughout the day, practice pauses, small moments of recollection. Am I acting from reason or impulse? Am I protecting peace
or feeding disturbance. These check-ins keep the inner compass aligned. Return to yourself often. The world pulls outward. Stoic practice returns inward. And then, the evening, perhaps the most powerful ritual, reflection. Before sleep, ask, where did I act well? Where did I fall short? What can I improve tomorrow? No self-condemnation, only honest review. Seneca practiced this, examining each day like a craftsman refining work. This is how wisdom compounds. Reflection turns experience into instruction. Without reflection, days repeat. With reflection, days refine. There are other practices too. Gratitude, to remember what is present, not only what is lacking. Negative visualization, briefly imagining loss to deepen appreciation. Voluntary discomfort, choosing small hardships to strengthen resilience. Silence, journaling, breath, each a discipline, each a tool, none dramatic but transformative. Because greatness rarely grows from grand gestures, it grows from repeated small disciplines. Ask yourself, what trains my mind daily? Because something always is. Distraction trains, complaint trains, comfort trains, or discipline trains. Choose consciously. Build rituals that strengthen the soul. Morning preparation, midday awareness, evening reflection. Simple, ancient, powerful. Do not seek perfection, seek practice. Because Stoicism is not an idea to admire, it is a way to rehearse living. Day by day, you become what you repeatedly practice. And with enough practice, calm becomes nature. Discipline becomes identity. Wisdom becomes character. And that is how the Stoic mind is built.
Chapter 12. Become unshakable. There comes a point when Stoicism is no longer something you study. It becomes something you are. Not words remembered, but character formed. Through discipline, through hardship, through practice, through truth. You began by learning to control what you can, to master thought, to use silence, to turn obstacles into strength, to govern yourself, to release outcomes, to love fate, to remember death, to remain calm in storms, to be free from opinion, to live with daily discipline. And now, all of it becomes one thing, an unshakable mind. What does it mean to be unshakable? Not that life stops hurting, not that challenges disappear, not that emotions vanish. It means circumstances no longer own your center. You may feel pain without becoming broken, face uncertainty without becoming lost, meet adversity without surrendering dignity. This is inner strength, and it is earned. The strong man does not depend on ideal conditions. Peace is not postponed until life behaves. Peace is carried within. That is the difference. Anyone can appear composed when life is smooth, but can you remain steady when storms rise? That is the test and the training. Remember, strength is not hardness, it is rootedness. A tree with deep roots survives strong winds. So does a disciplined mind. When insult comes, remain governed. When failure comes, remain learning. When loss comes,
remain human. When chaos comes, remain centered. This is what you have been building, not a philosophy, a fortress within. And no one can grant this to you. No one can take it from you. It is forged inwardly, moment by moment, choice by choice, virtue by virtue. The Stoics did not seek a life without difficulty. They sought a mind that difficulty could not conquer. Seek that. Not comfort, not applause, not control over everything. Seek mastery, because the world may remain uncertain, people may remain unpredictable, fortune may rise and fall, but a governed mind can remain free. Ask yourself now, what would my life become if nothing external could easily disturb my peace? That possibility is not fantasy, it is practice, and it begins each day, again and again and again. To become unshakable is not to become invulnerable. It is to become inwardly grounded, calm in chaos, strong in adversity, clear in confusion, free in all conditions. And perhaps this is the deepest Stoic truth. No storm can shake the person who has learned to stand within. Carry that with you. Practice it. Live it. Become it. Because the greatest victory is not over the world, but over the self. And that is the Stoic mind.
You have reached the end of this journey, but in many ways, the practice is only beginning. Stoicism was never meant to be listened to once and admired from a distance. It was meant to be lived in ordinary mornings, in difficult conversations, in private struggles, in moments when no one is watching. That is where philosophy becomes character. You have heard about control, discipline, resilience, acceptance, courage. But these ideas matter only when carried into life. When hardship comes, remember the obstacle can become the way. When anxiety rises, return to what is within your control. When the world grows loud, return to silence. When fate challenges you, work with it. When time feels endless, remember it is not. Practice daily, patiently, quietly, because the Stoic mind is not built in a single moment, but in repeated choices, and every day offers those choices. Perhaps the world around you will remain uncertain, but within there can be order, there can be strength, there can be peace. That is the gift of this path, not escape from life, but mastery within it. Carry these teachings with you, return to them often, reflect on them, live them, and slowly they cease being lessons and become who you are. Remember, you may not control the storm, but you can become the calm within it, and a person who governs their own mind cannot easily be conquered. Thank you for taking this journey. Until next time, remain steady, remain disciplined, remain free, and above all, remain unshakable.